Hello, you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Nay, Selma, Maxie Doodle, Tia Dash. Hey, Jan. Hey, Lynn, Carol Claus, Spicy Sugar, Purple People, Samantha Dunn. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to bring my favorite Miss Jin Lu up. Usually I get to talk to you for a second before we start, but not really today. So how are you today, Jen?
Oh my gosh, my brain has been done in. How are you?
Yeah, kind of the same, actually. After listening to all the, oh my God, the manipulation in her voice. Whew.
I will say this, though. I think that this was a good, I can't even believe I'm saying this. I did hear some things this time around that I didn't hear the first go round. So,
Oh, me too. Hey, Teresa.
I mean, some of these are new and some of these are we've already heard, but still.
Mm-hmm. And there, even if I noticed some things too, so I have a lot that I had written down, like for us to talk about. I wanted to go until 8. Melissa has a live at 8, and then Teresa has one at 8:30. So
I know.
yeah, and I'm sorry that we had to kind of start before it was fully over, but people can come in when they're done. We'll be fine.
Well, to be honest, okay, yes, the phone calls are important, okay, but these phone calls they're playing now are all phone calls that we've heard before. The real information is going to come from the special agent from the FBI who's going to talk about the phone calls.
Oh, I love that. Like hearing from both of them that were with Al while these were happening. It's so interesting.
Yes. And and this this special agent is particularly interesting because he did study at the behavioral analysis unit. And so he has a better, he's better able to talk about not just what she's saying, but the meaning behind the things that he's going to be able to analyze her behavior better. I cannot talk, you guys, because I have been listening to Letecia, Samara, Stauch scream and gaslight an entire courtroom for the last 9 hours.
I know, but let me tell you what. Number one, because that will start at the beginning of the day, like in a second. But
okay.
It was wrapping up, and I didn't hear the last person about what you just put, Maria. That's really sad. I mean, I did hear a couple things at the end that just like stabbed me in the chest. But I have some recordings. Like they won't all go through, but actually we'll just talk about the end at the end. We can go from beginning to end. If you want. I'm sorry. I'm all my brain after listening.
She's wrecked us all. Listen, I was chatting a little bit off and on in the Law and Crime chat, and I'm telling you right now, there were 20,000 people watching that on Law and Crime. And I think all 20,000 people need a t-shirt that reads, I survived Letecia Stauch's recorded phone calls, and all I got was the lousy t-shirt because it's awful. It was so awful.
I listened with Icked Mill at the end. I started on Chasing Truth. I think I went by Sleuth Moms for a minute. There's so many doing it. But so, okay, let's start. When it all started today, we have Amber, the FBI agent, back on the stand because she was one of the people there with Al when they're doing these calls. And my first notes are Amber notes how Letecia has an explanation for everything. I thought that was really interesting. And we hear Al connect them on that 3-way call.
Yes.
And she says it was significant. There was a significant pause when the 3-way started, and it gave her the impression that she was reluctant to speak with her. I thought that was kind of interesting. I really thought she wasn't going to talk to her. What did you
I
think of
thought
it?
so too. I thought this is what I thought because there was such a long pause that I honestly thought Letecia was going to pretend like her phone disconnected. That's really what I thought was going to happen.
Yep.
I didn't think she was going to talk.
I didn't either at all. Thank you, Jan, for gifting that membership. Thank you so much. And also thank you. Hold on, let me go back. Somebody had a 1 month. Oh yeah, Jan. Yeah, Jan for the 1 month membership. Thank you. I appreciate that. She did kind of get out of it. She hopped off the call. I know, but then she calls her back.
Yes.
Interesting. And on this phone call, she's kind of telling her that again with the stomach issues. Okay, that in my notes I wrote, really, the stomach issue comes up again. You know, Petco, he never liked shopping with me. I never worry about him, but he was sick and stuff. All the things she was saying. It's so there are little things that are consistent with all of her lies. And today we heard a few different versions of events, which was interesting. But the stomach issues are always, there. Hey, Tess.
Well, I'll say this. I do believe the stomach issues only because Al backs them up because he said so at Starbucks. But
Right.
also, I remember when my oldest son started on Strattera. No, that's not true. Not Strattera. It's the other one. Adderall.
Vyvanse. Oh, okay. Adderall.
No, Adderall.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Very sweet. Thank you.
Oh, that was sweet of you. Oh, Tia, I listened to you and LFT's live from last night, and I'm not ready to. It was really good, but I'm gotta go to part 2. But then Letecia started screaming like a banshee, so I had to go over there. But I'll watch I'm gonna watch the part 2. You guys did a really good job. What was I saying before that?
When your youngest son started the
Oh yeah. When he started Adderall, he had tummy troubles. His stomach would just hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt. And that's one of the things that I was like, no, I want to put him on. Let's see if we can put him on something that is not not amphetamine based.
narcotic or okay.
Yeah. And so we tried Strattera. But yeah, his tummy hurt. He never had any accidents, but
so it does make you have, like, not go to the bathroom, I guess, or
he never had like a problem actually pooping. His stomach would hurt. Like it didn't make him constipate him.
Okay. See, that's interesting, but
Gannon could have something else going on.
I think,
you know what I mean, that is not related to the Vyvanse.
Yeah, I think it's probably somewhat true, but even Al said like his accidents had really stopped. He's older, he's 11. He wasn't having them like he used to when the first day he was on the stand. But I do believe that, that's part that stays consistent. And that's probably a part that did actually happen, like you said, and it angered her or, whatever. Hey, Lupe. We really had no choice because we're trying to go to other people's lives too. So it was like the only window we had. But thank you, Jenly. That was very kind. Tia said. Okay, let me see what else we got here. So then on my page 2, we're back to Al off the call. Amber, the call wasn't, that to me, it was just the same bullshit that she had already spewed to Al. Then she gets back on the phone with Al, and I thought something was really interesting, and I don't know if this is the first clip I took, but he calls Harley his daughter. He said, my wife, who wasn't there? My wife and my daughter, they bounced on me. And this is consistent through all of his calls. And I hope that Harley hears this because I know that she felt like he bounced on, from what we heard with her. So I hope that she hears that and they're able to connect.
Well, I hope he heard the part of the phone call where Al said, I've been trying to illegally adopt Harley for the last 5 years. Yes. So you can take that and shove it up your ass. And then he was like, or you can shove it wherever you want to.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So I thought that was interesting too. I thought, I think Al wanted to be, I don't know. I will say this. When I was watching, the trial today. It depends on what they have up. If they're showing anything on the screen, like they're showing evidence or whatever, I will turn the chat off. But if it's just audio, I'll just leave the chat on. And sometimes I look up. But what I noticed today was there are a lot of people who, I think it was even, they were critical of Al, and they also were like, for me, I said, listen, I don't know if I could do this. I would be telling the FBI, trace that call right now, or ping that call, because I'd be trying to pull up.
Yeah.
Letecia would be in the shed, and I would be torturing her 30 minutes at a time until she told me where my child was. Absolutely. I don't care.
FBI knew at this moment she was in the Carolinas, but
yes, they did.
Like she was in Colorado, which was interesting. So then, and Melissa, I agree with you. And this is like, actually, we're not to this guys yet, but I put it here so I wouldn't forget, because I didn't have my notes like right in my hand. And they're talking about how he would actually see physical reactions in Al, when he's hearing this awful stuff, like about bleeding and head wounds and all the things. Thank God they were there to keep him like calm and keep him, giving him ideas of what to say and things like that. And in moments, I'm surprised Letecia didn't hear, because you can hear them whispering to him at times in the recording.
Do you know what I wondered for just a brief second when the FBI guy was talking about that? Whenever Al did find out what actually ended up happening to Gannon, I wonder if he felt a sense of relief knowing he wasn't SA'd or kidnapped and tortured for ever and ever and ever, or if it brought him no comfort, and actually it's probably worse because Letecia was supposed to care about him. I don't know what made me think about that, but I guess probably because of the detective talking about it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. I think that's kind of how my brain works too. Like, I'm trying to gauge all of their reactions and thoughts along the process. You know what I mean? And it's fascinating in a way. Okay, so about Quincy. Al, actually, they call her out on one of these calls. So she goes on and on about Quincy, and at one point gets called out for all the different stories. And Al calls her out, and she basically says, why do you keep saying Quincy Brown like it's a joke? And I think it's the next call, but my point is, they let her know Quincy is in Mexico. Quincy was not involved in this. We know that. And all of a sudden, here she comes with another story. And it just frustrates me. Let's see.
I mean, immediately too. As soon as she's confronted about it. But what I found fascinating over the phone calls that they played that we had not heard, the new phone calls. So the end of the one from Tuesday, and then there was a couple of other ones, or maybe one other one. I don't know. They went all the way to lunch with these phone calls. And then after lunch is when they were calls we'd heard before. So the overriding theme, though, in the new phone calls was Landon. She brought up Landon and Al being with Landon, and Landon.
Oh, hell,
constantly.
Even he was in Mexico because of Landon by the end of it. That pissed me. So jealous of her. She is so jealous of her. That's all she can focus on. That was in my notes too. So I'm glad you brought it up, because she's so focused on Landon. Al has to keep bringing it back. Look, Tisha, I'm trying to find my son. What he actually says at the end, right before we went live, like, what kind of life can we have without Gannon? What does life look out like without him? And
she failed that question too, by the way.
What did
horribly.
She say?
She was like, well, sometimes happy endings happen, or things turn out okay. And what else did she say? What else? Things turn out okay, something along those lines. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he repeats his question again, and then asks it kind of in a slightly different way. and adds a little commentary, like what he hopes to hear from her. He gives her a clue more about what he hopes to hear from her. So she turns it, then she answers and she says, well, maybe we could do, like a monument and help other families with their missing children. And she's just an asshole. I'm sorry. I know we're like too early into the show for me to be cussing, but she
That's
is.
she
I'm
is.
done with her. Like I'm
Oh my
done.
God, she said a monument?
A
Because that's right
monument.
about when I was going live. Oh my God, Letecia, you are. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. I found this so interesting when the Jonathan Grusing, which is the second FBI agent who took the
Mm-hmm.
stand, it's this fellow right here. I didn't actually mean to put this screenshot in here. I think I was just saving the date of one of the calls because I didn't have my notebooks. But he takes the stand and he kind of gets into their thoughts at the time and helping Al and stuff before they get into more calls. And he said they believed Letecia would keep talking if she wasn't accused,
Yep.
and that she changed her story to fit the facts of the case as they would come along. And
Mm-hmm.
Al calls her out for all the blood in the room. And I really like his like he's interesting, this witness, when he's talking, not when we're here.
Yes.
Can it be too early to start cussing? No, Teresa, no. Darnell, when she mentioned all the boxes and the beds in the middle of the room, she was building a funeral pyre. She was going to burn him to death and blame it on him. Explains how he ended up in the corner. When she's mentioning that, it just shows you that they're right. She gives little hints all along the way. I was trying to be a cool mom and let him have a sleepover and like move the beds into the middle of the room. Whatever, Latifah. Oh, Jen, before I hear yours,
Yes.
then the next thing in my notes, and this is important, we hear he has a busted nose and mouth. Like she's given out details of
I
what happened.
told y'all she hit that low. I told you she hit Gannon in the face. Her
I think she
knuckles,
punched him.
those are those, that is, I mean, I've never seen it on somebody who's, thank God, ever harmed a child, but I have seen it in fights. And it happens when your fist connects with somebody's mouth, usually.
Oh, absolutely, it does. You're exactly right. Let me see, because I think I've got them pretty damn close right here.
And we know that she does hit people in the face and specifically in the mouth, because hang on, I just have to turn the water on really quick and rinse this bowl, because she Harley says she backhanded her.
Yep.
So
Yep.
she's not above popping somebody in the mouth. And look what she did with the can of Monster. I mean, she's a violent woman.
She is a violent woman.
Period. And unprovoked. Defending yourself is different. Like it's been a long, like decades, y'all, for like several decades, multiple decades. But back in the day, I was not afraid to throw hands if I had to, but only if I had to. I didn't start it.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. I liked fighting when I was younger, and you're so right about the knuckles. That's exactly how they look. And I think that you're right. I think she probably hit him with her fist. And because she says he has a busted nose and mouth. Before Nicole gets down, it'd actually be a good clip to go back to, but I don't think I clipped it. But she does say, like, she points out the things that Letecia has said along the way that ended up being true. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see what this clip is here I got, because I think it's what we're talking about. Close to the top.
I just don't know how Al stayed on the phone with her that long.
What did you hear in the moment that there was bleeding and everything?
I don't know either. I couldn't either.
Oh, I remember this part of the call. This part is it's all infuriating, but this part is bad too. All right, hit it. Sorry.
Okay.
In the moment that there was bleeding and everything going on, what you heard? That was the question you didn't answer.
I'm trying to finish.
Okay.
So the police had left. Okay. I put Harley and Lena upstairs in the room. Told them don't come out. Nothing terrible, bad, nothing had happened at that point in time. I was still terrified. If I missed the police, if I didn't know, if I said anything, I didn't know what was going to go on. I told you this 17 times. I told them this. You can ask me why did I do things differently? Fucking scared. Okay? Scared. Went back downstairs. Okay? We didn't have a safe. We didn't have money.
Okay.
Now go.
What did you hear? Hear me out, please. Okay. All right. I know that you did something. I know that you're responsible. Okay. And I hope there was a good reason for it. But the problem is it's clear to me that I can't get it back through you. Okay. I had serious hope that, we could stand by each other through this. But you know what? I'm past that point now. After all these lies, and you just admitted that you lied to me for a reason to prove a point, I don't have hope for us. And you know what I'm worried to death about? I'm gonna have to testify eventually about this, and I don't know what I should say. Okay? You didn't hear me out. Please, okay? All right? I know that you did something. I know that you're responsible. Okay, and I hope that.
Wasn't that so interesting when Al starts talking about when he might testify and that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think by the time it got to this phone call, Al was done. And I think that likely the agents were probably like, we're not going to get anything useful out of Letecia. And I don't know if I can't remember if he kept trying after that or if that was the last call between them.
I don't know either, because the way that they played him kind of out of order.
Yes.
But I know he says, I've typed it here. It says, I hope it doesn't come down to murder. I don't know what I'm going to say on that stand in the front of the world and cry about my son. That was awful. This is what the judge is doing while the calls are being played. That cracked me the hell up.
Let me see. Hold on. I'll have to look. I think that's everybody's freaking face watching her. She's ridiculous. She's ridiculous.
Hey, what's your son? I know it is all of us.
The other thing that she did a lot of, which why would I be surprised? The negotiating.
Right.
And she, even though she is not the victim, obviously, the negotiating is something that she does quite frequently. And I think that's it. It didn't work on the cops, but I think like after she did the whole thing with the can of Monster, but I think that it worked with Albert because he makes reference in a phone call that we've already heard that they're going to play that they played after lunch about the time that Letecia took $8,000 from him. And he said, it's always me giving, and then you just give a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I heard that. I thought that was really interesting. Does he mean like right when she left, the $8,000?
No.
Oh.
This was something that happened a while back.
Okay, I was thinking of it as like right when she left. I skipped this page in my notes actually before Amber got down. He was saying, we're taking baby steps. The runaway story. This is when he's like trying to get her to talk to him. Like the story about running away took, created space, and we need to make up for that. We spent days and lost valuable time. And then you know what she says back to that? Are you trying to be with somebody else or not?
Yes, that's what she cared about.
Oh my God.
That's all she cared about. It was burning her alive that that Al and Landon were in the same zip code. She could not handle it. She's like, you guys are staying at the same motel and, just all the things, not even acknowledging that the reason why he couldn't stay in his home is because she had made it a crime scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, you selfish B word.
And then at one point he says he's tired, and Letecia says, well, why are you tired?
Oh no, he's like, because I've been looking for my son.
I mean,
My son is missing. You selfish bitch. She literally sits around and only thinks about herself. She's shocked that he's this worried and concerned. Did she think that he was just going to be like, oh man, you lost him? That's all. Like, all right, I miss Gannon. Poor Gannon. And
like you misplaced a shoe.
yeah. This clip wouldn't upload, but this is that what we just talked about. What I thought. This is the guy talking about. Here, just let me play it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to do it from my phone.
Jump into that.
Okay.
How were you involved in this specific process of preparing Mr. Stauch for these calls?
So I would meet with Al along with our team in the morning early before we knew the phone calls would happen. First of all, to check on how he's doing, see if he got any texts through the night, and then to prepare him mentally for what would be a very difficult day of getting news stories of what happened to Gannon. And to watch him was difficult on us as investigators because Letecia was describing a lot of trauma happening to Gannon through this. It's forms of blood gushing and injuries to face and knees, and it just would keep coming, and it was difficult for him to take that in as Gannon's father, but he maintained a very even keel, and I think we were able to help him do that. It was very difficult for him not to accuse Letecia, but Al was also able to refrain from doing.
And he did a damn good job. But it's interesting to hear, right, from like the other side of things, and even the things they point out that she mentioned the busted face and bloody knees and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I wish he would have gave us, like, he would have went even more into detail into
I
that,
think he's going to once. But I think that, there's no courts. There's no court tomorrow. Right. Today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So there's no court for Letecia tomorrow. And I think what he wanted to do, I think what the prosecutor wanted to do was leave the jury with those calls on their mind as they, take a break.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But he's going to explain that. Now, I will say this. There are points in in those calls between Letecia and Al that you can hear the toxicity and dysfunction in their relationship. There's there's a lot of game playing, and I'll say this. A lot of that I think has to do with the fact that Letecia knows how she got him. She knows that Al is capable of cheating because he cheated with her. And
That
so
makes sense.
you cannot have a relationship like that. It never works.
What's your sign? Yeah, she definitely had the buns up there. But no, Jen, I agree with you. You could definitely hear the dysfunction in their relationship and her jealousy. And I think she has no self-esteem, and she can't handle, the amount of times that she asks who he's talking to, sleeping with, and those kind of things. Oh, it's so frustrating. At one point, she literally says, I couldn't get your gun to work. I tried. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yes. And you know what I couldn't figure out is the last little clip that you played. That whole story made absolutely no sense to me. I could not understand what she was trying to say occurred. There was a hostage situation, and Harley and Lena were all home when this was going on. Was that her story? Because I couldn't follow that shit, and my brain was hurting. Trying to figure out what the hell she was trying to say.
Yeah, she gave a few different versions. It was hard. It's hard to follow. But she definitely said, but at the end, that she basically just made it all up, and that Gannon disappeared at Petco.
My favorite, though, I think my favorite lie of hers, frankly, is the Jose Baez. And then there's another part where she says, my lawyers are just going to rip it apart in court. And then you see her lawyers.
Yeah. I wonder what they're thinking when they hear her say she had Jose Baez and all that stuff. Eddie, we're almost there. Well, West Coast time. We got 3 minutes. Okay, then we get to these another phone call when she says she made up the stories to prove a point. But she says, no matter what, I can't get you to Gannon. That was kind of interesting thing. She says, why? Yeah, then Al asked her, why do you need Jose Baez if it's an accident? She
Well,
freaked
it's
out.
interesting that she chose Jose Baez for an accident because, hello,
That is interesting.
that was Casey Anthony's defense.
Yep, that's true. Huh? She thought that through. I think. Then I didn't even think about that.
She
But
thought all of it through. And oh my God, I know there's a part I was going to tell you, and if I don't say it now, I'll totally forget.
say it. Yeah.
So there is a part in. It's a phone call we've already heard. She's talking about what she's blaming everything on Landon, okay, and saying that Landon had something to do with it. And she said that at this point,
Tisha.
Landon.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh,
no, I'm sorry.
Okay. At this point, she's saying, she's really describing herself. She's saying that, Landon had a plan and it all fell apart. And at this point, she's just going to say and do whatever she has to do to keep the focus on Letecia.
Yes, she does.
Those are her exact words.
Yeah, Landon
the
had a plan
focus on Letecia.
I remember that part. I think I even have it in my notes somewhere where she says Landon had a plan to try to get custody back and keep all the focus on Letecia. She
literally refers to herself, you guys, in the third person. For those of you who did not sit through the excruciating 9 hours of her.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to interrupt with, but I stopped because I didn't want to make you lose your train of thought. But she says Tisha was in. Tisha didn't hurt Gannon. My guess is he's not in Colorado because Tisha didn't hurt Gannon or dispose of him.
And Tisha was in Colorado. She's so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but that makes me wonder about this DID.
No, because she goes. People talk. People refer to themselves in the third person all the time.
That's true.
But she, because then she immediately, like the next sentence is she uses the right tense. She uses I. So yeah, no DID.
Okay. That's interesting though. Okay. Let's see what else I got.
I've referred to myself in third person on your panel. I do it all the time. Like, get your shit together, Jen Lou. I do that kind of stuff all the time.
You're right. And she instantly changed back. You're right, Charnel, too.
Maybe we should have me tested.
Yeah. You and Woofy. All the time. Okay, then Al gets into her not trusting law enforcement, and he says he doesn't either. But Letecia was last to see Gannon, so he's going to her. I thought it was interesting because I think he's trying to play into her not trusting them. She says, trust him, and he's like, well, no. And they're right there with him, which is kind of interesting. She says she wasn't last to see him and doesn't know who was. We should be demanding more, she said. Then that's when he said that I know you did something, what we just played. But
yeah, I think the cops, the FBI, I believe the FBI suggested that he play into that. It's very, 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 very clear from the very beginning. I mean, from the minute that Letecia sits down in that interrogation, it's not even an interrogation room. It looks like where they would interview witnesses, not like kids. It's very comfortable. It's not very, it's nothing like what you expect in interrogation. But anyway, I think that from the minute she sat down in that interrogation room, she was already not trusting the police. And, I know it's because she's guilty, but also, I mean, she is very, very careful when she's having these conversations to correct people if they don't quote her accurately. Well, no, that's not what I said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she does.
Like she's forever testifying.
Danielle, I thought about that today. And Jen, what do you think? Do you think Harley's watching this? And my thought is I hope so, because I want her to hear the way Al felt about her, because I am sure Letecia spun that shit and twisted it, and God only knows what Harley was told.
I'm sure that Harley is listening to this testimony. My question is, where was Harley when these phone calls were taking place between
I know.
Letecia and Al?
I thought
Because
about it too.
how could you? I mean, I understand that how difficult it would be to really, really, like, I can understand backing your mom up until she got arrested because you're with her. What else are you going to do? You're dependent on her for your survival. You're a kid. But then she's arrested, and I would think for Harley, if she were hearing any of those phone calls, that would be like a relief, like she's free now. And
I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah, because I think it would be a relief. See, Eddie, I'm hitting my vape with you at 4:20 in your time. Okay, here's another part I wrote down that stood out to me. She says, and I quote, "If you know for 100% I did not kill that child, I did not kill our child." She calls him that child at one point.
she does, but Al does the same thing a few times. And the people in the law and crime chat were very, very critical of him for doing that. But I think he was coached to do that, because it's very important to Letecia that Letecia is everybody's primary. She's their priority is what I'm trying, not primary, priority. Letecia needs to be everybody's priority. And so I think that Al not calling he was mirroring her. He only did it when she did it. And I think that was something that the FBI told him to do, because I think that that's what she cared about more than anything else, is that he cared more about what was going on with her and how all of this had affected her than Gannon. That was her priority. I mean, she got more upset about her damn wedding ring being in evidence than she did about anything else.
I know, it's absolutely disgusting. And Amber, I do too. I never noticed him saying it. Maybe because I'm being more critical of her and I'm really like listening to her every word. But I agree, because he was being coached. We know that, and I admire him a lot for being able to sit there and deal with her for that long to get the answers he did. Because let's be real,
oh yeah,
he got a lot of answers from her. He got her story 20 times and all kinds of little clues.
Oh yeah. Now I did not hear him actually do it. Or, I mean, it's not like obviously I had to have heard him because I was listening to it, but it didn't register with me. The only reason it registered with me at all is because I was reading the chat, and it registered with so many people. And I like to see, I'm always curious, what other people's take on like those conversations, those little nuances are.
Yeah, me too. But I guess you're like me. We were more listening to her and not so much like being judgmental of him. In my opinion, Al did every single thing he had to do to get his baby back. Even the parts that he dreaded, like testifying and meeting with the cops and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
there are a lot of people who are still very, 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 very critical of Al.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of that.
They say, I saw it a lot in chat. I think their line of thinking is how Letecia did not. You can tell that Letecia, this is gaslighting, and the way she is not a new behavior for her.
Oh yes,
and that Al is quite adept at handling it, and people are critical because they feel like she's a toxic human being, and Gannon and Lena should never have been around Letecia like they were.
No,
where she was the one she's the only one who was in charge of caring for them. that,
for long periods of time.
for long periods of time. Like, it's not like she took care of the kiddos during the day and then Al would come home, at night and they'd all have dinner and stuff together. She was alone with those kids for days, and people just don't see. I don't blame Al, but they are very, very critical of him. Very.
Yeah, absolutely. On panel with me, Lucia, is my friend Jen Lou. I just dropped her link. It's the one that says the most flexible girl in true crime. She has a great channel. You guys should check it out if you're not over there subscribed. I don't say that enough because I assume that everybody is, but if you're not, go over there fast. But yeah, what do you think about, like, wonder why Landon does? I mean, I know that Landon, I don't know. I feel like the parents are not judged very fairly, like the same. But I don't know.
Well, I think that I think it's both. I think there are people that are hypercritical of Landon. I think there are people that are hypercritical of Al, especially, I guess, for whatever reason, it came up in the chat today that Al had remarried. And then the next comment that I could actually read, because there was a ton, this was right before they actually went live. So the chat was full, but it was kind of slow, and not as many people were chatting. And when it was mentioned that not only had he remarried, but that he had a new child, he had a baby, another child, that chat just lit up. People were pissed. Just pissed. I just watched because sometimes I find I just wanted to see, I just find their behavior fascinating. So I was just watching, and people are angry with Al.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't understand.
I don't either.
Why not?
I don't either.
He's already, you hear him on the phone talking about Christmas was so good. We had all the kids and me. So he's not allowed to have family or after this. Damn, he deserves to. I know he has Lena and stuff, but if he wants to have more kids, he should be able to. I just don't understand why people are so critical. But then again, I guess I'm critical of some people too. So I don't know.
We're critical of criminals. That's acceptable. We're allowed to be critical of criminals.
Yeah, I agree. Just like the roast, because they're
correct.
All right, let me see what I got. Okay. So then they get into the lie detector test. I'm hurt. My son's missing and he's hurt. I saw the blood, he says at one point, which he straight up, he starts telling her some shit straight up. I think you did it. They get into the lie detector test. She says she's going to do one, but real quickly, oh, no, I'm not doing one with the FBI. No, because they're police. I'm going to do one with this other place. So then they start to go through the questions that they would talk about on that. And do you know who?
All she wanted to talk about, all the questions she had for him were centered around their relationship.
Al wants the test done immediately, and he says, "Where are you?" And she says, "Wait, well, you were the last person." No, that was his to her. She said something. I wrote it down, but my notes.
She said, when he asked her where she was, she switched the subject. She said she didn't answer him. What she said was, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you call that company and you give me a choice of 2 or 3 dates and times, and I'll let you know which ones work the best for me. That's what she said. She completely avoided the question.
Yeah, and there was another one she didn't answer too, where Gannon. Who was the last person you saw him with? Or
yes, and that's the thing. She said they won't ask it like that.
Yeah. Oh my God. She's just so picky over every little word, like it makes a damn difference. And B Crumbs, that's okay that you're critical of him. You know what? We're all different and we all like base our views, opinions on perspective on where we've been in our life and the things we've been through. And it's gonna be different. So I think it's good that we all are different. But yeah. Oh God, that lie detector test. That's just frustrating. Then she says, "Oh, well, I'm just going to say this now. At one point, I think we talked about this for a second in the beginning about him not being in Colorado. I don't think he's in Colorado. Yeah, because
Yes, we did talk about that.
I that's just crazy the way that little things come through. Except for she said not in the U.S., but by that point she thought she threw him off of a bridge. Maybe thought he would have been in the I don't know in the water somewhere.
Well, she would have thought. Well, where she threw him, I think she was thinking that he would wind up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. It definitely does. I don't think she thought it was just going to sit there in one place and be pulled off by the water. At one point, he says, I don't care about you telling me the truth anymore. I just want to know how I can find Gannon. She says, we should have been doing this 3 weeks ago. Letecia, for 3 weeks, you have been telling different stories. You have been lying. Everyone else has been doing this. You dumbass.
Yeah, I have several issues with her, but it's fascinating to me. I'm both repulsed and fascinated at the exact same time by her ability to take something and twist it in such a way that she's always the victim. I've seen people do it before. Like, this is not a new behavior to your girl, but I've never seen anybody do it like this and so quickly.
Yeah. Oh God, it's crazy the way her mind works. She's just an evil, manipulative bitch.
She's terrible. She's
Melissa,
just bad.
So true there. He had come to terms that Gannon was most likely not alive. You could hear the shift in his questioning. You definitely could. At a certain point, he's just like, you know what? I don't believe you, and I don't, I think you did something to Gannon. I want to know what happened. I think it's funny though when he's asking her like to do the lie detector, and he says he's going to come get her tomorrow and pick her up. She says she's basically going along with it, but at this point she's in damn South Carolina. She says she's at this hotel, extended stay hotel in Colorado. Just unbelievable. I wonder how that will end.
And she wanted a meeting. Remember, she wanted to be with him. Like, I want to, I get so annoyed about the one last time game. That is a stupid game. I don't understand it. I don't understand what it's supposed to be for. If everything was that great, and I mean, if really all the problems could be solved with a little boom boom, nobody would get divorced. So I don't understand the one last time game. I've never understood it.
Yeah, I don't like that either. It's dragging.
I feel like when you're done, be done.
Yeah, it's dragging out the inevitable and making it harder for everybody, really.
Exactly.
And especially when you got kids involved. I think one of the biggest things I walk away from with today, I got to find my phone because there were 2 other clips I wanted to play, but one of the biggest things I walk away from is Al, I believe he did really love Harley, and I hope so much that she hears this. And because when she sat up on the stand, she lost her dad. Like that, I feel for her so much, and I keep thinking about that as we go on. Like, I just hope that she hears this.
I wondered, how could Harley think that? What had to have happened that made Harley think that she lost both of her parents like that? And I've been thinking about it throughout the whole day with the phone and everything, with the calls and everything. And I really think that because she did see Al after, like when they were moving their stuff out. But I have a feeling that Letecia told Harley not to speak to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, she told her not to talk to Al, and who knows what she told that kid, honestly, as far as that goes.
Remember, I told you, I think she sees Harley as like an extension of herself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she's going to act like Al is mad at her too, and Al wants them both to leave, and don't, like Harley's part of what she did. And the way people feel about Letecia is how they feel about Harley, basically.
Yes, and I think that there are probably parts of their conversations that were taken out of context that she repeated, or allowed Harley to hear. For example, Al said, well, who are you covering for? And he was being facetious when he accused Harley.
Right.
But because she wasn't even there, and he knows it, and that was proven. And I guarantee you, I would bet my party tit that she told Harley that. Sorry. Here we go. I can already see Melissa J typing right now furiously. I would bet my party tit. Jen Lu 2023.
I'd bet my party tit. Jen Lu 2023. That's so
I know
true.
Melissa's fast and furiously typing that right now. I expect to see it in the chat any moment.
Al should have made Harley, as a man, should have made Harley feel like he still wants her in his life. I know that's hard, but come on. I do agree with you somewhat, but I think after Letecia was in jail, because there's no way with her and her manipulation and treating Harley like she's an extension of her as well as Jen. I guarantee you're right. And she told her, Al suspected you and those kind of things. So I think that he would have to wait until Letecia was out of the way, because there's really no room for it otherwise. But
right.
Damn it, you stole my thunder.
I don't think that Al ever suspected Harley, not in any real serious way. I think that Al sort of felt like he knew that, Harley had bought like the cleaning supplies and stuff, but it isn't like she did it of her own volition, or,
Right.
It wasn't her own idea. It was on her own volition. It wasn't her idea. Her mom asked her to do it. So I don't think he ever seriously thought that she was capable of doing anything to Gannon. But I do think that, I think he always knew that Letecia would never let Harley talk to anybody. So he would never know until now exactly what Harley knew and when she knew it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And same with what Melissa says, like she potentially knew more. Let me see what these last two clips are really fast, because I don't know, and I want to talk briefly about Lori with you before we end. Okay. Let me see. They're quick.
Was in Colorado with nothing, and you guys have ran up all these places where y'all think I've been or whatever, and you haven't found Gannon. Get those two together.
She's disgusting. Oh,
what'd she say at the end there?
And you haven't found Gannon. Put those two together. She was basically saying, you guys have went all the places you think I went, and you haven't found him. So that tells you I didn't do it.
God, she's disgusting.
I know. She really is.
You think your biological children mean the most to you. And obviously,
So do yours. So do yours.
So do yours. So do yours. That's why I saved that, I think. But hold on. Oh,
yes.
The low power mode battery warning came up, and it's on my screen recording. I thought it was on the thing. And
your biological children mean the most to you. And obviously,
So do yours. So do yours.
that's just life. Okay? That's life.
Do you know why I took this, though? Because he says so do yours, but also because I think that's how she feels. She said, your biological children mean more to you. That's just life. That's just the way it is. No, that's the way it is for you, bitch.
Well, this is the thing. with Letecia that I suspect. It's not so much what Al says when he says so do yours and that kind of thing. It's how calm Al is when he is responding to this fucking psycho hose beast, which tells you that this is something that has heard before. You see, when somebody accuses you something that you just offends you on a cellular level, right? You're quick to nip it in the bud immediately, right? But if it's something that they say it's part of their arsenal of attacks, after a while it loses its sting. See, that's why, ladies, you got to be keeping the crazy fresh. Can't be just using the same old insults all over and again. Yeah. Because it loses its sting. You got to come up with new and crazier things. Just kidding. But for reals, like it loses, this sounds like a fight that they've had before.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so crazy to hear and think about what their life looked like before and how they talked to each other before dealing with her. I don't even know how the hell you deal with somebody like this ever. I don't know how he wanted to marry this girl. I really don't. That's the things I'm thinking about while I listen to this. I'm like, what did you see?
There are not enough benzos in the free world for me to deal with Letecia Stauch. No effing way. There's not even enough money in the free world. Like I couldn't even go into any type of job where I would have to deal with her.
No, definitely not me either. Okay, so before we switch, I'm just going to look on Twitter quickly because sometimes there's some funny stuff about it. Like, look here, the new identity for Letecia Stauch is Princess Leia, and then they show her with her space buns.
Don't do that. Don't do that to Princess Leia. Don't you do that, Twitter. That's too far.
Someone shared that picture of Al and Landon together. Landon giving Letecia the eye, honey. I have that picture in my intro because I love that.
What did recovery addict call her hair? The hair fort.
Yeah.
That's way better. Don't be calling Letecia Princess Leia. I won't stand for it. I won't have it.
Name. Someone says, Judge Warner currently. Dear God, first of all, I would like to thank you for my wife because she is not this crazy ass bitch. Secondly, if you were to strike me temporarily deaf, I'll give you my firstborn child. Amen. Look at your face. Sorry.
Well, ever since this trial has started, every so often my husband will come in where I am and he's like, and he'll hear her. And I accidentally on purpose leave the door open and turn the volume up just a little bit because I want him to know, listen, no matter what the fuck I pull, I'm never going to be this bad. Ever. Ever.
Someone said her attorney walked over for hand sanitizer, rubbed them together, then rubbed on his face, trying to get the stench of lying Letecia and her absurdity off of him, perhaps. I love that one.
She's hiding her audacity in her space buns.
When even the defense is over it. Look at him.
They've had enough.
See, I'm glad we listened to this because it gives us a little laugh through all the craziness.
It does. It does. Look at her.
She said, sorry I had to mess up Al's voice. Let me see what she says in this. And we'll
yeah, but you, at the Inquisition, but have you filed for divorce? Nope. See, here you go again, not playing by the rules. You can yes or no. Yeah, but you,
hey, Parker.
at the Inquisition, but you're not answering my question. Who was the last person Gannon was with if it wasn't you? Because these are going to be the questions you're going to have to answer. I mean, I'm just going to be straight up with you, whether you answer them to me or not. Yeah. Well, Mr. Hashal Baez will. Okay. If you know. So, I mean, we might as well do this peacefully between me and you and figure out where Gannon's at.
I got to hear her.
I've already agreed to the... I'm agreeing to it.
Oh, my God almighty.
Ew.
People are crazy, Jen.
Let me tell you why they're making fun of her so bad, because I thought about doing this too. Don't y'all worry. There will be a cumulative compilation of all the best moments from Letecia and her ridiculousness at the end of all of this. But there was one point when she was sitting at the defense table, like she was, and honestly, because the screen was blurry, I thought she was doing that thing, when you put your the palms of your hands over your lips and then you do that, you make the fart noise. I thought that's what she was about to do, and I kept waiting for it. Now I realize upon further better review that it was just the one hand, so she wasn't going to do that. But I mean, they're making fun of her because you can hear Al perfectly clear. Letecia sounds like she's talking on a fucking potato.
She does. It's horrible, horrible.
That her internet is being run by a fucking fax machine. It's so bad.
Do you remember yesterday when I showed you Jennifer Coffindaffer calling out Harley saying she didn't smell anything? Look what she tweeted here. She says, I thought a lot about my previous post concerning Letecia Stauch's daughter's testimony. I think I was out of line. While I can't believe Gannon's little body was not severely decaying, I was too harsh. She was young and it was her mom. Apologies. Wow.
All right, Jennifer Coffindaffer. Good job. I mean, listen, I will say this. People say things. I've said things, and it's been misconstrued. Like I said something the other day on Teresa's panel respective to addicts, but I have had a struggle. So it wasn't me thinking that way. It's Letecia, because she constantly brings that up about Landon. And so, but at the same time needs to be reassured that she's so much better than her. And I said what I said, and people misconstrued it in the chat. And I didn't want them to think that, because I don't feel that way. But I think if you say something publicly, like Jennifer Coffindaffer did, and you are wrong about it, your apology should also be public.
Oh, yes, I completely agree. You don't get to trash somebody publicly and apologize privately. No way.
You should definitely apologize to the person if you can privately, but you need to make your apology public as well. You should apologize twice.
Yeah, I completely agree. You're right. Privately, then publicly. I'm just wondering, Teresa, if you're still here, was a piece of the carpet found out on that where they were at near Palmer Lake? Because that's what this says, and I didn't know that. I knew the sock, I knew the wood, but I don't know. Somehow I've overlooked the
Al
carpet.
said on those phone calls that it looked like these were his exact words. I don't know, Letecia. It looked like a piece of carpet that may or may not have been the same kind of carpet that we have in our house. That's what he said.
Okay. I
think he may have just been at that point blowing a little smoke, because I don't think they found carpeting. I think they did find carpet, but not, I don't think, out at
right. They found
Palmer
it in the
Lake.
trash and then in the storage room.
Right.
But,
right.
Okay, so now, because Melissa has a live in 10 minutes, Teresa has one in 40, and I want to make it to both of their lives.
Me too.
Let's jump into Lori really quick, because they had a few things that I picked up at it. We'll have to wait till we listen, like maybe aren't we doing something tomorrow on your channel?
Yes. Okay.
So we're going to fully get into it.
Yes.
Yeah, Danielle, there was one of Gannon's socks was found there. Thank you, Lynn, for dropping those. I appreciate that. So today in court, Lori's, do you remember her ex-best friend? Well, one of her ex-friends that she was pretty good friends with from Hawaii.
Does Lori have any current friends? Let me just ask that. Everybody is an ex-friend to her.
Yeah.
Any
I don't think so. No, but she does have this friend, April, that they lived they lived near in Hawaii. They met at church, and, she was trying to basically get April to join their little cult. Oh my God, Selma. No, I did not see that.
What? I missed it.
Letecia throwing a paper airplane at the attorney today.
Oh my God, Letecia.
I don't watch a lot. I'll listen and do other, while I'm doing things and taking notes instead of watching. So Okay. Here is April. This is her leaving court. Not much happened. I just want to show you who she is real quick.
Okay.
Hey, April.
Oh, sorry.
Anything you want to say?
So she came from Hawaii to testify, and I'm going to pull a couple tweets that Nadine put out today about that, and we'll talk about it. Okay, this one, April says she knew Charles Vallow. He worked from home a lot, and she would visit Lori at their home, and Charles was a constant presence. She said her and Lori got together a few times a week, and they were friends outside of church, celebrated holidays together, and their kids played together. That Tylee has a friend that you'll see her on videos. That's April's daughter, but
Okay.
Raymond lives in Hawaii and has 2 children. She says they met at church. Lori was primary president and asked Raymond to be one of her counselors. And then she gets into Charles being a demon and Lori telling her about it. And she says, yeah, the demon's name was Ned Snyder. When asked how she knew it wasn't Charles, Lori said, he's shorter. Now, this is the one. Yeah, he's shorter than Charles. But this next one is the one I really wanted to show you. I think I actually sent this immediately in Messenger, but it says.
Yes, I think you did. But let's talk about a public.
It says Raymond took Lori told Raymond she didn't bring JJ because, quote, she was done with him, unquote, and Charles and Kay would need to figure it out. Raymond took done with JJ to mean that because Lori and Charles were getting a divorce, Charles would need to take care of JJ because Lori wasn't going to care for him anymore. Lori says Charles was already dead and a demon was using his body as a host. The demon's name was Ned Snyder. So she literally had told her friend she was done with JJ. She did not think of JJ as her child at all. She thought of
she didn't.
As Charles's family. Yeah, Melissa's shorter. And that's so
you know what I would be curious about? I would like to know, which one we're never going to know because I promise you it only occurred between Lori and Charles. But I would like to know how the discussion to adopt JJ went.
I would like to know that too. I'm sure it was Charles who wanted to do it. And at that time, Lori was in love with Charles. And by the way, Charles was a very handsome man and very, like, he was good. He literally converted to Mormonism just because of Lori to be closer in their marriage. And he was a Christian, I think, but not Mormon.
Well, yeah, because if you are Mormon and you do not if you're not sealed together, then you will not be together in eternity.
Is that what the sealing means in the temple?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Lizard Queen.
Happy birthday, Lizard Queen.
You should go look at the pictures on my second channel, Real Talk with Alex, on my community page. I was on live with Jen Liu, and these 2 lizards came up and started walking in a circle and flexing their muscles at each other. I'm not joking. They were literally doing push-ups. Jen's one who called it that, but they were
that's what they do. They do push-ups to each other.
Their thing under their neck was flaring. It was crazy. And I took pictures and posted it on the second channel. But yeah, I don't know. I just think she never looked at him like that. And that breaks my heart because JJ,
what is the age difference between JJ and Tylee?
9 years. 7 and 16. Ooh, thank you, Melissa.
Okay. I was wondering about that. I thought it was more significant than that. But
I knew that Tylee was like a caretaker for him, though.
Yeah. But even I will say, no, because there's 7 or 6. Wait. 98. 7, yeah, there's 7 years almost between my between my 2 girls. And it didn't feel like completely starting over, even though it was, but maybe it's probably because my sister had my nephew. There's 6, almost 7 years between my 2 girls. But maybe that's because my sister had my nephew by that point, and I was already helping with him, so it didn't
Oh
feel like
yeah.
a start over. That might be why.
Oh,
But
for me, it felt completely different because I was 18 when I had Trenton and 27 when I had Bentley. So I was a teenager baby when I had Trenton. And sadly, this is just the truth for him. He didn't get like the best version of me. And I always feel guilty about that. And I see that a lot with other moms. They're like, on TikTok, actually, there was a trend where moms were showing like their kid they had at teenagers and how like they stood by them. They've been through the hardest parts of their life with them and the most like
mhm.
trying times and stuff. But yeah, it was totally just so different. I was
It
so
was
much
different
more.
for me too. Because well, first of all, I was young, just like you. I was 18 when I had my first, 19 when I had my second, and 21 when I had my third. So I had them like back to back to back to back to back. And when you have 3 kids under 2 years, under 3,
Oh
you
my God.
know,
I don't know how you
you,
did it.
I don't either. This is probably, I'm telling you guys, this is why I act like I do. These jokers broke me. I used to be so much cooler.
You're so cool. Stop it.
Thank you. But or maybe cooler is not the right word, saner. I used to be more sane. No, but it was a lot. I didn't have time because I was so busy with them to enjoy all of the little stages that they go through. But with my youngest daughter, I did get to do that. I got to enjoy each and every little phase that she went through much
Right.
more than I
Yes.
did with
That's exactly how I am too. And it's
the
sad.
I know I feel guilty about it too, but then I think to myself, well, I mean, what I can't go back and change it. It was
Yeah.
what it was. And we're all still, my kids and I are all very close still. So, it worked out.
Look here, Vicky's kids are 19 years apart. Wow. That's
Oh, I
really
don't,
cool and crazy
that
too.
is, I know.
Okay, let me get through these couple because Melissa's laugh
Oh,
is
yeah,
about
yeah,
to
yeah,
start.
yeah.
Okay, it says during a dinner with Lori and Melanie, Lori told April about Charles being on a business trip. Lori said she discovered evidence of him having an affair, so she canceled his flight and credit card and moved his truck from the airport parking lot. During a lunch, I'm reading it backwards actually, I think. It says Lori left Raymond's house and went to the Kauai Beach resort. Melanie joined Lori in Hawaii. The 3 women went out for dinner. Ty Lee was in Arizona working at a chiropractor clinic, and Raymond never saw JJ. Lori showed Raymond the email. Charles sent an email to her family pleading for help. Lori showed Raymond the email and asked her not to respond to Charles if he reached out. Raymond says she did not believe in multiple lives probations, and the church Lori and Raymond attended together did not teach this. Raymond did not hear anything about zombies in 2018, but Lori talked about it in 2019. It was a new teaching. Then Lori's attorney asked her about the light and dark scale. Lori told Raymond in 2019 she was a goddess. Raymond said she tried to not react and just listen to her.
I'm sorry, you guys, but there's no way I would be able to not react to that. There's just no way. I know me.
I
know
know,
me.
me neither. Well, listen,
and even if I didn't make a word, even if I didn't say a peep, my face would say it all.
Yes, you probably have no poker face. That's how my mom is. Like, if you say something dumb, you will know based on how she looks at you after.
I have
period.
a poker face, but for certain things that are just so outlandish, like somebody coming to me and telling me that they're a goddess, there's no way that I would be able to keep a poker face. I know me.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy to hear. Well, April said that, Lori and Melanie were on the same page with their new beliefs and that she felt it was subtle grooming. And they were trying to get a reaction, and she felt their ultimate goal was to include me. She was not interested. So they were trying to basically, get her to be part of their group.
I will say this. When I watched that interview with Heather Daybell on Hidden True Crime, where I ended with it, and I haven't all the way finished part 2. I thought I did, but I didn't. She does drop some hints about polygamy.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk. I need to listen to that
Mm-hmm.
actually. Tomorrow's Thursday. I might have a chance to catch up on some things. And today, Reverend Donna I sent you that video. I think she had a friend of Chad Daybell's on her panel.
Yes.
You guys are about to do a jade raid on Melissa herself. So she has a live starting right now. I'm dropping the link, and you guys, hope that you'll join me over there. And then later tonight, Criminality has a live, I think at 8:30, and I'm going to swing by in there too.
Yes, I
And
will be in both places.
and before we go, let me ask you, how is this affecting you? Because talking to you and Melissa both today in the last couple days, like, you both and other, like, I think I'm seeing this in with other creators too, like, you can just tell the trial is taking it out of you, not necessarily like emotionally, but exhaustion, stress, all the things. So yeah, we're doing a jade raid on yourself, because I don't have a name for mine. We're just doing that. So but yeah, how do you feel, Jen, before we
I will
go?
say this. Allie knows this. I have been struggling the last few days with some I've had panic attacks like I've never had before. I've gone months and months and months without having, I can't even remember the last time I had a panic attack. But after Monday, I just can't, I cannot seem to get back on level. And I think that it is because part of it, I need to take better care of myself, but I do think that some of it is this trial and the things that I'm hearing. And I think that Thursday is good, that we don't have to do both Letecia and Lori. But I will say this, for me personally, cases that involve children are particularly difficult for me. They are particularly heinous, and they make me very, very angry. And I have no real outlet. It's not like I can call up Letecia and just read her for absolute filth. And so I
Right.
think what I need to do more than anything is I need to not watch that interrogation until the very end, and then just read her for absolute filth at the end there when she's talking about her chest pains and shit. And I think that
Yeah.
is going to help me, because
I
I
think it
have,
will help too. Because that's probably how you get some of your frustration out with these cases, is some of that. And also for me, it affects me too. But I will say this. For me, the kids' cases are the ones that I'm passionate about. I don't really feel as passionate to the point where I can get on here and every single day talk about it, watch hours and hours a day. Like, I think that's what locks me in, because it is the kids. Because a lot of times with adult cases, I don't feel as inclined to want to speak about it, and you know what I mean? And be a voice for these little I don't know. So, but they're difficult. But I don't know. For me, it's that's what I think I'm called for, is just to talk about the kids, because I don't know. It's just the ones that I get most passionate about. But it is really difficult, and especially when we're seeing the photos and all the things.
Yeah, and I think for me it really changed. Kids cases have always been difficult for me, but I think that I've always wanted to talk about them because they don't have, it's just different with kids. But I was never affected in the way that I've been affected with these last few cases until I had grandchildren.
Oh God, yeah, I can't
I
imagine
think that might have changed me a little bit too. I mean, I know that having grandkids definitely did change me, but I guess I don't understand how how these people's families don't see that something is not right.
Yeah, and stop it before. I don't understand
Or
either.
check in with their, because listen, motherhood doesn't come naturally for everybody, and it's not like kids come with a manual. Okay. And there are times when what you really just need is somebody to tell you you're doing a good job, you're a good mom. And I check in with my daughter because I want her to know that,
Yeah,
and that you're
absolutely.
not going to get everything perfect every single time. as
Well, I
you
think
know.
that you should call me, or even Nay says call her when you feel like that, and if when you need somebody to talk to, and yeah, use us, and
Oh, thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate that. And I check in with her because I know what it was like when I was a mom, and the first time, and when they're going through the, Olivia is 2 now, and she always has had a very strong little personality for such a little thing. She's just has this huge personality, and she wants to figure it out on her own. When they're 2 like that, they get very frustrated very easily, and there's a lot of meltdowns, and there's a lot of temper tantrums. But on top of that,
yeah,
Olivia has health struggles, and there are times when she has to be hospitalized, and in those moments it's even harder for my daughter, because bless her heart, Olivia only wants her mom
oh, I
when
cannot
she's sick,
imagine,
and
Jen.
you know how that is. It gets how kids are. They only want their mom, and it's tiring, and sometimes you just need another mother to tell you, "You're
I think
doing a good
that's so
job. You're a good
freaking
mom."
it's so thoughtful
Huh?
that you even think to tell her that. That's so awesome
Oh,
and very thoughtful. And also, I don't know how you do it. I really don't, because like health issues is what I have main I think I have PTSD from when I had preeclampsia, because I didn't even know I had it, and the next thing I knew, I was 4 hours away getting put to sleep, and they literally didn't know if we would make it. And I think that I
yeah.
just, like, after that, you realize how quick something can happen. So now any little health issue, and it throws me for a whole loop. I'm telling you, this pneumonia stuff, like, I'll have hours where I'm having panic attacks so bad I'm throwing up
Mhm.
and everything. I have to take gummies and edibles and go to sleep or something until I get
Well,
up. But yeah.
how I am dealing with it or getting through it, especially in December when she was first diagnosed, and it was so scary because there was so much we didn't know yet, was that you guys being live, going live, talking about true crime, having a distraction, focusing
Oh
on
yeah.
something else, that was paramount. And so
Yes.
it also gave me a different perspective. And then I'll get off because I know we're got to run over to Melissa's. But when when I would be live and stuff like that, it was cathartic for me. It gave me a distraction. And so it also gave me the perspective of, there are a lot, I try not to do it, but whenever we hear about cases, people will say, well, why would she be doing that? Like most people might think, you just got this potentially devastating diagnosis, right? Why are you on YouTube? Because I needed to not be thinking about that every single second. And it
Yeah.
made me realize that um, you never know what somebody is going through, and you never know why it is that, you might think that's the last thing that you would do, but not to judge too harshly, because there's usually a good, now not in Leticia's case, but just generally speaking, most of the time it's because they need the distraction.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not
For
that they
me.
don't care. It's they care
Uh-huh.
so much, and it hurts so badly that if
To
they
think about
focus
it.
on it anymore, it's going to destroy them.
Oh, you're 100% right. That's how I got through, like, the beginning stages of recovery and stuff. I didn't have a community yet, but YouTube, the distraction of YouTube, and then like finding my way in the world without it, I don't know. It's been a huge
Yeah.
blessing to me. I'm so thankful for you guys, for YouTube. Really, I am so thankful. I really mean that. It means the world, my channel, and like when I tell you guys I love you, I mean that. Do I mean, oh, I love you more than my best friend I've had since I was 5, or more than my kids or my mom? No, but I truly love you guys. It means the world. Like, you mean the world to me, and the way that it has changed my life, my anxiety, just everything. Being able to work from home and do things like be a mom with my kids, but still earn some money. And it's just been a huge blessing. And I'm so, so, so thankful.
I am.
Lisa,
Oh, Sam, I love you too, babe. I love Samantha Dunn. That's my buddy. That's my fam.
oh, you are an inspiration, Jen. And then, yeah, you
Oh,
guys, thank you. I am Lizard Queen.
an
And the
alley
sales
rally.
tomorrow.
I like that.
Alley rally. I know, that's cute.
Yeah,
Will you guys please join me over at Melissa's for an alley rally? Tomorrow's 420, Jen.
I know.
That's all right. Well,
I
thank you
haven't
for being
celebrated
here.
420 in a long time.
You might need to with all this anxiety you're having. I'm going to help you find some good
I probably
options to
do, or
help.
else I'll go to the store. I'll go. Oh, go to like Walgreens or CVS and find some valerian root.
Yes.
That
Hey,
helps
you know
too.
what? Valerian root or ashwagandha, which is very easy to find now in Walgreens and CVS. And I'm telling you right now, ashwagandha is the only. I tried valerian root first, then I found ashwagandha. It is
I'm
the
gonna try
only
some
natural.
ashwagandha.
Do it because it's the only natural supplement I've ever taken that within 30 minutes you start to feel. If you're really tense, you will feel those muscles
Yeah,
relax.
because valerian root smells like wet dog. It smells so bad. Ugh, such a gross smell, and it takes a long time to work.
Try the ashwagandha and try like about 1,000 milligram dose. You'd look it up on the internet because sometimes.
Oh, I'll just try whatever the highest damn dose is that you can take that won't take you out, because I have a high tolerance for everything.
Well, sometimes the gummies, the ashwagandha gummies, are lower milligrams than like what they recommend online or on Amazon. So just take a look and see, because I take about 1,000 milligrams, I think, but I'll double check that. But okay, you guys, I'm posting Melissa's link right now.
All right, we're going over there.
Alley rally.
Alley rally.
And then after that, I'm going to post Teresa's too, just because she also has a live tonight. And Jen, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I adore doing this. And I can't wait for tomorrow because we have so much to cover with Vallow. So much. In fact, I've decided I don't even listen. I think we talked all we can talk about Harley. I think we need to just do a full on Vallow, because I was listening to Zulema last night, and girl.
Let's do it then. I'm excited because we got Colby, Zulema, now Lori's friend. And another thing, damn it, I thought I grabbed this screenshot. Today it came out that when Chad Daybell I sent you this, I know, but when his yard was being searched, he sent $4,000. He sent out a bunch of money, like a couple $1,000s to a couple different kids as they were in the yard digging.
Yes, he was clearing out his account. He left basically enough of money in his account for a retainer.
Yep. And that's it, because he knew I just cannot believe that. That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow over on Jen News. If you guys aren't subscribed, I just dropped it. The Nightbot just dropped it. See, please join me over there at Jen Lou's tomorrow, and then maybe I'll come on at some point for a 420. I don't know though. We'll see what happens. But
all right, I'll see you guys all tomorrow, I'll see y'all in a minute over at Melissa's. Good night, Allie. I'll see you in Melissa's, babe.
All right. Good night, Jen. Thank you again for being here.
You're welcome,
thank you guys in the chat and mods. And I appreciate all you guys. Love you. Bye.
Bye.